Welcome to Expitality's Talk About TV. And I am so excited truly to be here with you today. This is Carter Moses of Climb Capital. Carter, thank you for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I know. So would you mind just give us a little bit of background? Tell everyone what you do.
Absolutely. So I run all of Climb Capital's acquisitions and dispositions. So Climb Capital is a commercial real estate private equity firm that focuses on RV parks and hospitality product. So we kind of started off similar to a lot of groups in the multifamily space, did some deals in the mobile home space. And really about 2 years ago, we've completely pivoted and seen how much opportunity is within the RV parks and campground sector. And so that's completely where we're focusing now and investing in. So super excited about that.
Tell me what you love about it, and then I'll pitch in some thoughts as well.
So there's like a few things that I really like about it, both personally and from a business perspective. One of the main reasons that actually drew our company into this space was our owner, Robert Preston, is a huge RVer himself with him and his family. And so he was taking his like 2 week trip out to Wyoming with his family, and they stop at campgrounds on the way. And he was chatting with the owner, and she was like, talking about how she's owned the park for 20 something years. And, he ended up saying, would you look to kind of retire? We've never bought an RV park, but could be something that we're open to doing. And that's kind of how we got our first park, and just saw so much opportunity kind of within this space. But I think one of the big things too for me is with how Americans are kind of transitioning their workspace and their work-life balance since kind of COVID hit. We've seen such a huge increase of people wanting to go and experience the outdoors, being able to work remotely and from home, that there's been a huge increase in people wanting to go RVing and travel around more. And so the increase in demand has been really great for us. And honestly, from a personal side of things, I love working in commercial real estate, and I've been doing it for years. But this is one of the first asset classes that it's like really exciting to be a part of. Like we just came back from a due diligence trip on a deal up in Arizona. And so it was just so much fun to go out and walk the property and visit with some of, the tenants and vacationers that are staying there. Since it's a resort, everyone's happy to be there too. So you don't always have the crazy tenants that you might have at a Class C apartment building.
I love everything that you shared. It has a different energy about it, doesn't it? It's
It
like,
does.
and it just is more fun. I think with Expitality, what I've noticed is because there are more and more people living this way and exploring and getting kind of outside of their comfort zone and trying out these different ways of living, the standards are shifting. So, what is your experience around that? Because we kind of had this notion, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, of like what RV parks were, what RV resorts weren't very common at all. So, talk to that a little bit, if you would.
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. And I will say I was this way at the beginning, right? When we first started looking at RV parks, I'm like, aren't these just trailer home communities? Like we really want to buy RV parks. And the more we really started looking into this space, it's not the first thing that people tend to pop in their head of what it looks like. These are really cool community places that have high-end amenities that people want to stay at. So, I mean, you can find resorts that have clubhouses with full bars, luxury pools, splash centers, that they've got the dog parks and so many, other places that one of the big things I think that, we like about RV parks and people that actually RV all the time love about it is the community benefits of it. And so having these spaces that you can go and sit around the campfire with someone that's from Colorado, someone that's from California and Florida, and just talk and mingle is just so great. And I think that's, one of the big things on RV parks, why people like them so much too, is they just offer so much flexibility with the outdoors, but high-end spaces. And I think how it's changing too from 10 years ago is people are so into glamping right now, and these like really cool structures of yurts and tents, and they don't want just the traditional RV where you just pull into a spot on gravel and there's no amenities there and they stay for one night and then they're back on the road. They want it for the full experience of the RV resort.
Yes, that's where all the creativity comes in, right? And that's definitely, I mean, that's the world that I live in, where we come into these spaces. It could be an RV resort or glamping, or more and more, to your point, it becomes a combination of all, because people
Mhm.
want that variety. So we come in and help grow those businesses. And how do we grow them? Through really fun stuff, like all
Yeah.
the ancillary services, right? Well, we could do this, we could do that. What is the theme? And then building systems and stuff around it, obviously, because you have to run it like a business. But the creativity that comes in, and the higher the standard, like the more people that do this, it lifts everyone up, right? Because you have to then like be more creative than the one you saw down the road, and these people are going to all these places, and that becomes kind of your intel, right? It's like,
Yeah.
so what happened? What did you like and not like about where you were before? And then it's just a really, really fun kind of community thing. I think, to your point about the community, we are all seeking that, right? And we're learning to step outside. It's so much about get out of your comfort zone, because
Yes.
you have to get out of your town, get out of your house first of all, right? And then you get in this RV, and then the more that resort can provide connection opportunities for you, and not everybody wants them, but I love that you're in this space, and that you're seeing the opportunity and going after it, because it's a great way to serve people.
Yeah, and I think, for Climb Capital and how we look at deals too, we, really like to take kind of maybe those parks that have been around for a really long time but are in great locations. And so we
Mhm.
see the opportunity there, but they just haven't reached it yet. So coming in and buying more of those basic or rundown parks and really elevating them into that, resort style, or, around kind of a class A park to offer
Yeah.
a lot of those benefits. So
And it is such an opportunity too for those mom and pop owners, because a lot of those people, and I don't want to say, I don't want to be too generalizing here, but oftentimes you work your whole life to build this business, and you don't know how to get out of it. Like, you don't really have an exit strategy. And
yeah.
those businesses can be so full of in the weeds operational issues. So when someone like you comes along, and you can serve both ends of it, right? It's an opportunity for you and an opportunity for the existing owner. So that's cool. So regarding the question we were talking about earlier, the topic, being a woman in this space, what is that like?
I think being a woman in real estate in general, you're always a little bit of a minority. And so you tend to be working in a male dominated industry, which I see as a challenge in itself. I mean, I will work just as hard, if not harder, than any man to get the deal done. And so one kind of funny thing too, my name, Carter, most people assume that I'm a guy until they meet me. And so it's
Okay. Yeah,
always
I can see
funny.
that could happen.
Yeah, so it's always funny. I'm like talking to, people on emails, and then when we set up calls or meet in person, they're kind of, shocked. But I think it's changing. I think it's changing that more women are starting to get into this space, but it's just not fast enough. And so I think, sometimes the challenges, are, maybe they don't see you as the same as they see themselves as a guy. But I really haven't had to deal with that as much. Our group at, Climb Capital, we're a small company, so there's 6 of us, and we kind of run stuff like a family business, so that's been super great, and everyone's ideas are definitely all accounted for. But I think also one of the biggest things is when I say that I'm in real estate, most people either assume I'm a realtor, or I am a property manager, right? And so getting over that notion, it's like,
Mhm.
no, I'm actually going out, finding all of the deals, sourcing them, and then closing them so our operations can actually run it. It's sometimes a shock to people like, oh, like women do that type thing.
My God,
But
I love it. And it's just I love your attitude about it because honestly, the women that I've spoken to in this space, they don't perceive obstacles. It's like they know what they want, they're really interested, they're smart, so they're willing to work, they're willing to learn, and they're just doing it. I
yeah,
think it's such like everything in life, it's really such a mindset. You're either looking at it like, okay, what are the, where are the monsters that are going to jump out, or what do I have to fight against? And it's just not, it doesn't have to be that way. Like
no,
any industry, there's always going to be, I don't know that it's men or women, it's just like there's always going to be people that don't have the same kind of values you do, or they're just operating from different, I don't know, different. I think it really is about values. Like,
yeah,
when you're connected with someone on from that foundation, and then it's so much more fun to do business. And business should be fun. Like, thank
absolutely.
goodness we're in this space where it's just we work with amazing people and it's creative and it's financially rewarding and we're serving, and like there's nothing negative about it, and it's
No.
problem solving, like all businesses like that, right?
And I also feel like kind of in the RV space, you're working with a lot of, owners that have owned their park for so long. And
Yeah.
so for me, I think that's super rewarding to work with them and sit down and learn their whole story. And, we don't want to ever be the company that we just take in and fully scrape, all of their work and change it up, right? Obviously it was working and they were doing something right. And so we want to have kind of an easy transition, figure out exactly, what they're doing and work with the owners in order to just bring that park up to the next level that maybe they weren't able to do. And so I think that's, the most fun part. And it doesn't matter if you're a woman or, a male, once you're sitting down face to face with someone and learning about their experiences and sharing yours, like it's
Yeah.
all so much better.
Yeah, it is. And that is such a great approach. I mean, it just makes sense. It's a different, there's something about this space that is more, there's heart to it. And I know not everyone is like that because I've met people that definitely don't see it that way. And it's just about acquisition and volume and, but the way to really be profitable, I believe, is to make sure that the heart of the business, like you're talking about, is carried through, because everyone that visits there, you can have the most perfect location, all of the right facilities, right? And if you leave and it felt sterile to you, you're not going to go back. So it is hospitality, right? And then
Yes.
you've got the nature element. I mean, there's nothing, there's nothing missing. So awesome.
Yeah, I think it's such a great space. And I just, I really would like to see more women in it. I think that's kind of like the big thing is just reaching out. And so I'm so excited that I'm on this and can,
Yeah.
show that, you don't have to just be a property manager if you don't want to be. Like you can be a CEO of your own company. I mean, I work really close with a group called, City Street as well. And one of the girls, Catherine, that runs it, she's fantastic. And I've learned so much from her. And she kind of started on the loan side and has, moved up within the company too. And so it's just really great to see other women doing what you're
Yeah.
doing. And if I could, say to the younger generations or even just the people in college that are like, maybe real estate's not for me, like it is so much fun. You're dealing with a physical asset. And so you're able to actually look at that to see, what it could be worth versus, maybe dealing with the financial services or the stock side of things. And so I personally think it's really fun and would love, to get more women into this space.
Oh, it's so great that you shared that. And, I have a son who is 18 and he's expressing some interest in this space, but there are the obstacles that used to be there are just not there. And for people like we're coming on these, everybody's on video, everybody's on all the social platforms. Here you have this woman, Carter, saying, "This is great. You guys, you girls, everyone can do this." And mentorship is available. Like people want to be open and help and share and grow. The
Yes.
doors are not so heavy and closed. And it's not like this hierarchy of you have to be this, or you know, if you're a woman, you're the assistant out like pounding signs into the the dirt for an open house or whatever. It goes so far beyond that. So I really love that you shared that. Opportunities are everywhere, and
Yes.
it's all about service, you know? So yeah, so fun. I love your enthusiasm and all that you're doing and sharing and everything. What else do you want to talk about today? Is there anything that comes to your mind that you want to share about outdoor hospitality?
I just think it's such a fascinating growth industry, right? And it's changing so rapidly. I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier, but even from last year into this year, like we're still
Yeah.
seeing RV sales rise for people wanting to buy an RV and take a trip. And I think I actually, read a stat recently that was saying that 58 million Americans took an RV trip last year, and it's supposed to be like around 67 million this coming year. So we're still seeing all of those people want to go take travel and take trips. And, on the owner and operator side of things, one, that's fantastic because our parks are going to grow in occupancy and we can kind of increase rates. But it also just means that this space is going to continue to expand, and we're seeing a lot more developments and growth coming into just the RV and hospitality industry. And so I think, within the next 5, 10 years, it's going to be looked at as an institutional, investment platform, and not just, this is kind of experiential or experimental investing, right? That has super
Mhm.
high returns and is different. And lenders don't want to play in this space, and large private equity groups. Like it's completely kind of going to shift. And we're already seeing that on our side of how many groups are looking to both individually, if they're just one person wanting to buy their first park, to a group out of New York that has a $200 million fund that wants to come into this space. So I think it's a really exciting time to be in it.
I could not agree more. And I love that you use those two words. I know they just kind of came out together, but it's not a grand experiment. And then you use the word experiential. So that's the world I live in, right? It's like everything has to be an experience. How do we take experiential hospitality to the next level?
Right.
And that is your opportunity, like with what you're doing. It's like what is every touch point? How do we make people's lives better? How do we make this more interesting, more connected? How do we bring more heart to it, or whatever it is you want to bring? And it's so much about the guest. Like what do they really, really want? And just that journey to learn more about people, and they're coming from all these varied backgrounds. There's no demographic that owns this space. It spans every age group, every
Yes.
background, solo, family, couple, like retired people, new families, millennials. I mean, it's a place where we all can actually, like you said, sounds corny, but it's true, come together around the campfire. And isn't that amazing that this
It
is what's
really is.
happening, like, after the lockdown and all this stuff? Like, oh my gosh, this is so here we are in nature, but it's luxurious. We don't have to suffer to do it, right? And we've got people of all backgrounds, and it's so interesting.
Well, and I think you brought up a great point for like anyone too that wants to get into the RV space and maybe buy their first park, or they're from, a smaller group or bigger group in the mobile home sector. And maybe they're like, oh, let me transition and, buy some RV parks.
Mhm.
It's not as easy as just buying an RV park and collecting a check every week from your tenants that are paying you
No.
a lot. Right? Like And I think a lot of groups kind of assume that when they're looking at this space. And we've talked to, a lot of operators that are looking, to maybe step their toe into the RV industry. And we're
Mm,
like, it's very similar to operating a hotel or hospitality. It's, you got to create the whole experience and, offer events and, have amenities, and it's not just as easy as, running a trailer park, right? Like you really do have to facilitate a community in order to get a lot of those people to continue to come back year after year and choose your park over the neighboring park that, offers all of the stuff, right? The multiple pools, the Jellystone-ish parks that are going to
right.
bring in a lot of families that are going to travel distance to go and view those.
Right. Exactly. And that truly is where the opportunity lies. And how do we differentiate ourselves from the park down the street? Because everybody is learning. Like, I've been to some unreal RV resorts that it's just like there's nothing you could imagine that they don't have. Like, you have a thought and it's like, oh, it's there. Well,
Yeah.
to me, that's what hospitality is, right? It really is anticipating the desire of the guest. It has to go beyond the need. Like, you better have clean showers, You
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
like when I was a kid and we'd be like, "Oh, we stayed at the Y." Well, it didn't matter because we were having fun with it's just like, no, it's not like that anymore. It has to be beautiful and clean and sustainable and a good relationship with nature, and like our standards are high. So
Very high.
it's really a good thing, because how far can we go with that, right? That's why I love what I do, because it goes beyond. It becomes more, I don't want to sound too corny, but it really is. It becomes more heart centered. Like, it's more about how are you making that guest feel? How do you allow them to have the experience that they want? And you might have 25 different people that want very different experiences at your place, and they're coming there for different reasons. You need to provide that for them. And that becomes an act of creativity. Okay, what do they really want and how do we do that,
Yeah, no, I
It's
completely I
perfect.
completely agree with that. And I was actually at a conference a few months ago where the one of the speakers was talking about kind of utilities, and he was like, Wi-Fi is not an amenity. You don't
No.
just get Wi-Fi. That
Yeah,
is a utility
like
now that you need
water.
to provide.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, I think it's completely changing and people's views are changing, but a lot of the people that are wanting to either do this full time and live in their RV like travel nurses, or if it's just a
Mhm.
family that wants to go on vacation for a few days, they still expect, fast Wi-Fi that they can either work from or stream shows from. And, it's definitely interesting to see. Groups, I'll still look at, RV parks and I see that it's listed as an amenity on their Wi-Fi.
There was a time, those days are over. Yeah, we have to lift everything up. And that really, again, I know I keep saying the same thing, but that's what allows us to grow and change and create, a sustainable world where people can connect.
Yes.
And everybody is looking for that. They want independence and they want freedom, but they also need connection. So
Yes.
um it's a really fun space. And I think honestly women are just made for this. They're absolutely innately perfect for it.
Oh, yeah.
So
No,
come
I think
on, ladies.
it's such a great space to be in and
Yeah,
really fun.
it's
And
really
I mean, last kind of thing I'll say on that. So on just sort of the women aspect, but our company, we're a lot of us are military or have some form of military tie. And so we also work with a program called Skill Bridge. So for any military personnel that's, looking to either retire or get out of the military, there's a program that they offer called Skill Bridge, which will allow you to work from 60 to 120 days on, the military's dime. You still get your full benefits and intern with companies. And so it's a great way if you are interested potentially in real estate or outdoor hospitality and want to maybe see if this is something for you, you should definitely look at the program and then, reach out to us. Or I know Michelle and myself would love to just talk with anyone that is interested in the space in general. So would love to, just have conversations with other either owner operators, investors, property managers, people that do the design work, anyone to just help, us get better within this industry.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up. That isn't that incredible? Like, who
Yes.
wouldn't take advantage of that? But probably people don't know. So, yeah.
I think a lot of people, don't know. And I think that's one of the hinders of the RV space is just networking, right? At least like when a lot of other industries, if you're based in big cities, you have so many other companies that are doing very similar things that you are. But
Mhm.
within the outdoor hospitality industry, everyone's so spread out. And so I feel like it's always hard to kind of connect with individuals or to kind of start a group. And so it's so important to just have conversations and ping people that are working in similar spaces that you do just to find other things and build your knowledge and build your network. So,
Oh, such great points, Carter. I could talk to you all day. I and you know what I was thinking is how intimidating it is. Like I remember when I was first introduced to this, the RV portion, it was probably 8 years ago or so. And it was someone that I did another business deal with. And I was like, I couldn't even speak to him about it. I was just kind of like, how did you do that? You just don't know what you don't know. And then
mhm.
it doesn't look like an opportunity for you. It looks like it's so outside of anything that makes sense to you, like you are bringing to light, but it doesn't even fit into like commercial or hotels or whatever. It's just like its own little area that you don't think you can access. And when I used to see people years ago on LinkedIn and think, wow, I wonder how they did that. That's amazing. Like, but everything that interests you, there's a doorway to get there. And
Yes.
this is one of the reasons I want to have these conversations. And you just never know who's going to see what and what's going to help them. And it's so kind and generous of you to offer your time and expertise. And um, yeah. So it all starts with picking up the phone like we used to in the olden days, or send a text or a DM
Yes.
and get on a Zoom, send a DM and get on a Zoom. No one even knew what that stuff meant 20
I
years
know that was the best thing that came out of COVID, right? Being able to meet
ago.
and talk to people that you didn't have to do in person if you couldn't.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, I couldn't agree more. Okay. Well, thank you just so much. I'm so very, very grateful to have met you. And I'm sure we will continue to do all kinds of amazing, creative, wonderful, lucrative, fabulous things together.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. This was great. And anyone that's listening, if you do want to learn more or about the RV space or outdoor hospitality, like please reach out. I could talk about this for hours just like Michelle could. So would love to,
Yes.
connect.
Yes, we'll have to have, I don't know, maybe this will grow into something that we can support other women or whatever. It would be
Would love
wonderful.
that.
I would too. And so these I'm doing a bunch of interviews with women in the hospitality space, and that will turn into something where we'll all come together and meet in person. What part of Arizona is that were you in recently?
We were up by Lake Powell area looking at the deal. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll meet in Arizona. Or you can come to Colorado. I don't know. We'll do something. And I can't
Looking
wait to
forward
see
to
what
it.
it's going to be. Yeah. Thank you, Carter. You have a beautiful weekend and we will talk again really soon.
You too. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay. Bye.